The night the storm rolled in, the sky cracked open like it was screaming for me. Wind howled through the trees and rain slammed against the windows as if the sky itself had a grudge. I stood on the porch, shivering, soaked, and clutching my thin cardigan tighter around my frail shoulders, watching through the window as my son, Dylan, calmly fed the golden retriever inside. His wife, Callie, didn't even glance at me. She passed behind him with a cup of cocoa, laughing at something on her phone. My suitcase, still damp from the lawn, sat beside me like a silent witness to the humiliation. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video, and also tell me in the end, do you like this video? Mom, it's just for tonight, Dylan had said earlier when I came knocking after my electricity went out. The dog's got anxiety in storms. You'll be fine on the porch. It's covered. I blinked at him in disbelief. You want me to sleep outside? In the cold? It's not that cold, he shrugged. You'll survive. We don't want Buddy getting stressed again. That name, Buddy, as if I wasn't family, just an inconvenience compared to a mutt with fur and a dog bed by the fireplace. The same fireplace I'd helped install when Dylan and Callie bought this house, with money I'd loaned them from my retirement fund, money they never paid back. I didn't argue. I just stood there, frozen, not just from the wind, but from the gut-punch betrayal that only your own child can deliver. He was my son, the baby I carried, nursed, and raised after his father passed when he was barely 5. I worked double shifts for years to keep him fed. I skipped dinners so he could eat. I sold my jewelry to pay for his college books. And now I was less than a dog. By midnight, I was drenched and shaking. The porch didn't protect from sideways rain. Every thunderclap echoed like judgment. Still, no one came out to check on me. The lights in the house dimmed. They had gone to bed. I left at dawn. My legs were stiff, my heart even stiffer. I walked to the bus stop, mascara stains still on my cheeks, and that was the moment I decided. I may have no warmth left in that house, but I had fire left in me. They forgot who built their safety. It was time I reminded them, quietly, legally, and permanently. That morning, as I waited for the bus with wet socks and a shattered spirit, I texted my lawyer. Because while my son had thrown me to the storm, I still held the deed in my name. They may have taken my place in that house, but they were living in mine. My lawyer, Ruth, had been a close friend for years, a bulldog in court and a saint outside of it. She didn't ask many questions when I called, just responded with a calm, "I've been waiting for this moment." Turns out she'd seen the writing on the wall long before I did. We met in her office 2 days later, after I'd had time to warm up, sleep, and process. She slid the deed across the desk. My name, bold and undeniable, stared back at me. I had bought that house with my late husband's life insurance and kept the ownership quiet, more out of sentiment than strategy. When Dylan and Callie moved in, I told them it was theirs. Just not officially. They were supposed to pay me back slowly. Of course they never did. They just acted like they owned it. "I want them out," I said softly. Ruth nodded. "Do you want to sell?" "No," I said. "I want to gift it to someone who wouldn't leave me in a storm." That's when I remembered Maisie, my neighbor's nurse. Sweet, kind, and recently widowed. She'd invited me over for tea a few times, always made a point to check on me. Her own landlord had increased her rent beyond what she could afford after her husband passed. When I saw her walking to the pharmacy in the cold last week, I asked why she wasn't driving. Her car had broken down. "It's just a rough season," she said, smiling, "but I'll get through it." That was the kind of woman who deserved shelter. Not Callie with her smirks, or Dylan with his selective memory and soft hands that never touched hardship. Over the next week, Ruth drew up the papers. The house would be sold under market value, not to a stranger, but to Maisie. She cried when I told her. "Why me?" she asked, clutching her chest. "Because you would never leave someone outside in the rain," I said. And I think homes remember that kind of kindness. Meanwhile, Dylan was busy planning some weekend barbecue with his friends, according to his Facebook posts, smiling in photos on my patio. Buddy got a new Halloween costume. Callie posted about cozy nights in. Not once did they call or text me. Not once did they check if I was okay after abandoning me in the storm. The papers went through on a Friday morning. By Saturday afternoon, Ruth sent the notice of ownership transfer to Dylan and Callie. I imagined them reading the letter while sipping coffee, expecting nothing and suddenly realizing the ground beneath them was no longer theirs. Within hours, my phone exploded. "Mom, what is this? Are you crazy?" "You're joking, right? We live here." "You can't do this. We'll fight it." I didn't reply. Instead, I called Maisie. "The house is officially yours, but if you'd like, I'd love to leave the backyard to Buddy. He's just a dog, but he's innocent." Maisie laughed through tears. "He'll love the space." I packed my bags quietly. My retirement home upstate had always felt too lonely before, but now it felt like a reward. As I zipped the last suitcase, I walked through every corner of that house in my memory, each one layered in sacrifice, love, and betrayal. And when I handed the keys to Maisie, I didn't feel like I lost a home. I felt like I reclaimed my worth. Because sometimes the only way to teach a grown child respect is to take away the comfort they never earned. Dylan and Callie showed up at my retirement condo 2 days later. Callie was wearing oversized sunglasses like she was some wronged celebrity, and Dylan had that fake smile plastered on his face, the one he used when he needed something but didn't want to admit it. They didn't even knock. They just barged in after the front desk buzzed them up. I stood from my armchair, calm, sipping tea from the china they never liked. "Mom, what the hell is this?" Dylan barked. "You gave our house away?" "Our," I said softly, setting the cup down. "Strange. I don't remember you on the deed." Callie's voice snapped through the air like glass breaking. "We had plans, you know. We thought we could renovate the basement and finally get our dream kitchen." "You served me dog food as a joke," I said, turning my eyes to her. "You left me outside during a thunderstorm while your dog napped on the couch, and now you're upset because I gave away a roof you never paid for." Dylan stepped closer. "You didn't even talk to us. You could have—" "I did talk," I interrupted. "For years. You just never listened unless I was paying a bill or cooking a meal." Callie snorted. "So you're punishing us by giving our house to some nurse?" "Her name is Maisie," I replied, "and she's already replaced the locks." "You're unbelievable," Dylan muttered. "No," I said, finally rising to meet their eyes. "I just stopped letting you treat me like I was disposable." For a moment, they both stood there stunned, blinking like they had never heard me speak like that before. Dylan rubbed the back of his neck, visibly squirming. "But what about Buddy?" he asked. I smiled sadly. "Maisie kept the backyard. Buddy still gets to run around. He deserves that. He never treated me poorly." Callie scoffed and turned toward the door. "Come on, Dylan, let's go. She's just a bitter old woman." "No," I said louder this time. "I'm a woman who finally chose peace." After they left, I took a deep breath and picked up my tea again. I stared out the window of my new place. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. And more importantly, it was quiet. I didn't have to beg for respect or sleep outside because a dog took priority over my health. I had solitude, dignity, and a neighbor who brought me fresh pie every other Sunday. Weeks passed, then months. Occasionally, I'd hear from mutual friends that Dylan and Callie were bouncing between rentals. "They're downsizing," someone told me. "Apparently their credit's a mess." I never commented. I didn't need to. Life was doing the explaining for me. One chilly morning, I visited the neighborhood to drop off a gift for Maisie, a thank you basket with herbs from my new garden. As I approached, Buddy ran up to me, wagging his tail, joyful and free. Maisie opened the door and hugged me tight. "He still runs to the porch every morning waiting for you." I looked at the backyard. It was cleaner now, brighter, no more trash piled up, no more loud music, no more parties that left me awake till 2 a.m. Just peace. "You saved me," Maisie said. I shook my head. Number U reminded me I was worth saving. We sat together in the backyard for an hour. The wind was soft, the sun warm. Buddy dozed beside us, belly to the sky, and as we laughed and sipped tea, I realized something. Sometimes storms don't destroy your life. They wash away the people who never deserved to be there. And I was finally dry, safe, and home. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video.